Welcome, everyone, to episode number 51 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today, I welcomed a good friend of the show. He's worked with our good friend Jordan E420, who obviously I produced a whole album for, the collab album with Jay. His name is O.G Process. He's a hip-hop rapper from Detroit, Michigan. And like I said, he's been honestly kind of just organically supporting us for the last, I think 7 or 8 months. Just showing love on our music and everything. And I reached out to him, I think earlier this year when I was booking guests for the podcast for the new year and everything. And we were finally able to get him on the show this week. I had a really good conversation with him about how he kind of took a break for about 8 or 9 years from hip hop. He said he used to rap back in high school, and it kind of just, he grew to not really enjoy it anymore. He broke up with the rap group he was in and kind of just stopped for a long time, and it wasn't until he met Jordan who kind of ended up coaxing him back in and saying you should be an artist again. And ever since then he's just been slowly getting the wheels turning once more. Just put out I think another freestyle the other day actually called O for Pistons, which I really enjoyed. He said he's going to be having a lot more music coming out starting this summer. He's got a project planned for June. And he's got, I think, another project planned for this November. I don't know if he said this November or next November, but I think he meant this November. So be on the lookout for a lot of that music from him. And I'm looking forward to working with him. I think he's supposed to be coming down to Ohio to work with me and Jay here in the next few months. So I'm, hoping the best for that can happen, even with some restrictions of COVID that are still kind of out there. But, I just had a great conversation with him. It was our first time really connecting, face to face. Obviously you're not going to see the face to face, but through like Zoom and everything, we had this conversation. And yeah, I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. I can tell he's very passionate about his music and his other business ventures, and I'm wishing him all the best. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Welcome everyone to episode number 51 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today we have a very special friend of the show. He's a great friend of Jordan E420, who we've worked on music with before. He goes by the name O.G Process. How you doing, man?
How's it going, man? What's happening?
I'm great, and like I said, honored to have you on the show today. We've been talking back and forth, you and Jay and I, and we're all kind of close on social media and everything. And like I said before we started recording, I appreciate you supporting our music and the whole movement we're trying to do. So I figured why not have you on the show today. And welcome, man, for sure.
It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Yes, sir. And so to basically start off every episode, we have the guest kind of just give a little bit of background about how you got into music, where your name came from, kind of just the basic information, just to kind of get people familiar with you if they haven't heard of you before.
Okay. Basically, man, I grew up in Detroit, the East Side area, Chrysler Drive and State Fair. And I was raised by my grandparents. And like my grandparents, they was kind of like super religious, but at the same time, they always had like a love for the music, especially my grandmother. Like my grandmother, she kept like this, the classic stereo system with the cassette player and the vinyl records. But in the drawer at the bottom, she had like these classic vinyls, and it was like hundreds of them. And I was a kid, but I used to just like to look at the album covers. But it wasn't until I was in high school where I actually started listening to the music and appreciating the music. And later on, I say like in my sophomore year, one of my best friends that stayed across the street from me, he had a cousin named Nick Varsity. And Nick Varsity, he like a popular rapper in my city. He been rapping for a while. And basically, we started rapping with him, and we just formed a group. And the group was called GSQ, and it stood for Grim Squad. And basically, I'm going to keep it honest. We thought we was the Rockefeller at that time. We thought we was diplomats. Rockefellers. And yeah, man, I was rapping with them. But back then, back then I was terrible. Because that was a different, you remember, this was like early 2000s.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember the Nick Varsity name for sure. And I was going to ask you if it was probably around like 2004, 2005 probably.
Yeah, he's still going. He's still dropping good projects. But yeah, this was like 2006.
Okay.
Around 2006.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I was just making songs with them, and that's what kind of taught me how to like, make songs. Even though I wasn't that good at rapping back then, I still had an idea how to make songs. And basically, a situation came about where they stopped focusing on the music and stuff happened. So we broke up. And by then I was kind of like, fuck rap. It was through rap. And fast forward now, so I ended up meeting Jordan, O.20, and like I say, he was the one that brought me back into rap. We recorded our first song together, Fast Lane, which was like last summer of August. Yup. And basically, that was the song that brought me back in the rap game, man.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy too. Like you said, you've been doing it that long, but then you kind of just had almost like you just fell off from it a little bit. But then Jordan kind of
I was like screw rap, man. And this was like probably like 9 to 8 years without rapping.
That's crazy.
Until right. My cousin decided to start producing, and then he ended up meeting Jordan, and then how it all just went full circle.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see you back in it then, because I didn't honestly know. I had seen that you didn't have like a ton of material out yet, but I just thought like honestly you were just like doing a name change or like a revamp. Honestly, like when I saw your social media, because I've seen like you had a bunch of posts on there, especially like artists you listen to and all that stuff and different things. So I'm glad to see you back in it for sure. And just what I've heard so far, I know you dropped like that the Pistons Freestyle the other day and everything. I saw that, which was pretty dope.
That's pretty much the song. That was produced by Luigi from Buffalo, and that was Luke Kang's producer, and he put me up on him.
Yeah, I know. I know Jay's been mentioning him a lot. He might get some beats from him for sure. He's dope. I like him. I like his style.
He's dope. Yeah, he got like that vintage hippie currency flow for show, but he a pistol.
For sure. I might have to collab with him eventually, because just what I've heard from the stuff he did for Jordan, I was pretty interested, honestly. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, they like the main duo. You know what I'm saying? It started out with them two, and then that's when all the rest of us came in the picture. So yeah, they always make stuff together.
Yeah, for sure. So
I got a couple songs with them.
Oh, are they coming out? Are they coming out soon or?
Yeah, me and we working on a 3-piece, the EP.
Oh, okay.
And we trying to drop it around probably June, the end of May or June.
Awesome, man. So I'm curious, just from what I've heard from you music-wise, are you someone that kind of just has to hear the beats and just write to them? Can you freestyle off the top? Like, what is the process of writing songs for you these days? What does that consist of?
Yeah, I definitely got to meditate to the beat. I got to hear it. And like, I'll listen to a beat for like at least like 2 days, 2 or 3 days. And then that's when I start to write to it, And I lock it in, and just when I'm ready, just hop in the booth,
Because I know like a lot of like the process for everyone is totally different. Like I know some people will just go in and they'll just mumble something on like the mic, and then they'll come back later and be like, okay, I'll use this as a reference, and then they'll fill it with real words. You know what I mean? Like they'll just hum a melody or some shit and then come back later and then do it. But like,
what's crazy? I heard that, man. I heard that process. I was watching a YouTube video with like one of the mainstream artists, maybe like Travis Scott or something. Don't take it with a grain of salt, but he was just rapping words, like just mumbling words, and like the engineer was just taking them and just piecing them, putting them in place. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? They can do that now? But me, I'm old school, man.
Yeah.
I'd rather, pen and pad, lock it down, say it over and over again until I get it.
To me, that's the best way though. Like I can't myself, I can't like write or like sing or rap or anything. I've never done it, never been good at it. But like, I feel like the best artists are the ones that take the time with it, and they can just sit down and craft a story. You know what I mean? And craft something that when people hear it, they feel the time they got put into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and that's pretty much my style, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I got my braggadocious lines. Every rapper do, but what I try to do is like, I got like the smooth hippie style, but I try to put like a message in there too, like sprinkle some game, like, have like a good message, because I want, when people listen to my music, I want them to like take away something positive and apply it to real life,
That's always the best music to me, is the stuff that, like, even if it gets you pumped up, there's still a message somewhere in there, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I think that's, even for nowadays music with a lot of, like, trap and things like that, the ones that stand out to me, the artists that stand out to me that are the best are the ones that have a message on, like, some heavy production, you know what I mean? Like, it's still, you get the best of
There you
both
go.
worlds,
Like, there
you know
you
what I
go.
mean? That's the best
Yeah.
stuff for real.
I think that's what Jordan seen in me, man. Jordan and Kane, it was like, yeah, man, it was like, you got bars, man, when you get to writing, you know. Obviously, it's still some stuff I need to work on. Like I say, as far as like my weaknesses as an artist, I'm still working on like my cadence and my delivery. But you know, as far as like, you know, punchlines, bars go, yeah, that's I can come up with some shit.
Yeah. So over the last like year or so, are you like in studios at all recording, or are you just doing it straight from home, like just on the laptop? Like, what are you doing?
I started out rapping in my cousin's studio, like Rizzo the One. He had an in-home studio, and something happened to his mic, and I remember it was kind of down for months, so I just said screw that, and yeah, I started recording at home. Yeah, I do everything at home, and just send it to you know, the audio engineer.
Yeah, it's because I know like the process for everyone, like just like the writing is just totally different. Like some people, they were just doing everything with an engineer or someone in the studio, and they didn't really know how to do it themselves, and then they had to learn the skill on the fly because they're like, can't go to the studio. Now I have to figure out how to be my own engineer a little bit, record myself, kind of arrange the song a little bit, send it to whoever to mix it. But like, I think that was good for a lot of people to learn that skill, because now they're able to use that moving forward. You know what I mean? Like they're not just one trick anymore, like knowing all they can do is like write and rap. Now if they needed to, they can record themselves, they can like I said, do arrangements and vocal, you know, production and things like that. So that's always very important to have, I think. So
Yeah, I feel like that's what I kind of had to learn, and what I've been learning now, because I was doing all that with my cousin in his studio, and like, you know, his mic broke down, and you know, he started doing something else, you know, like trading and stuff. So he didn't have time to record me no more. So I had to figure out, like, damn, you know, during the time I didn't have all the money in the world to pay for studio time, because studio time out here get kind of expensive. You talking about a lot of money here, like $60 to $100 to like $200 a session. You know, then if you want, you know, mix and master, that's probably like another $100.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially in a city like Detroit too, where there's a lot of artists and a lot of different studios and
so many rappers out here, bro. So many.
I can imagine for sure. It's got to be a lot harder than like a small town where I'm from, where there's like nothing. Like we are literally doing, like we're it. We don't have anywhere to go. Like I'd say the closest like studio to us is like Akron, which is probably like 40 minutes away, 30 minutes away from us. So we're better off doing it ourselves anyway, which is kind of a good thing, I think, in a way. But it's definitely interesting. So I know, like, scrolling through your Instagram, I saw that you're like a big Nipsey Hussle fan. I think you're like a Kendrick fan, and a lot of other people, like very lyrical hip hop. So is there anyone else that is like a huge influence on you and your music, or someone maybe when you were growing up that was someone you listened to a lot who influenced your style and everything?
Definitely Jay-Z. Jay-Z. Diplomats like Cameron, Jim Jones, and Nas, man. Like I still listen to the Illmatic.
I just
and,
saw
even my bad, not to cut you off. Even artists from the West Coast. Like I grew up off the Dog Pound too. Definitely.
So were you like a little bit of like 90s and early 2000s kind of mixed in together a little bit? You'd say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like the prime era of hip hop though, because you had like, and even like that, like I'm too young to remember any of this, so I'm just going off of like what I know.
Golden era, man.
What?
Fucking golden era, dog.
Yeah,
That's
see, I'm telling you, I was born at the complete end of all the really good stuff. Like I like the earliest I remember is like 06, 05, 06 is like the earliest I remember of like hip hop in general. But I feel like the transition from like the 90s stuff to like the early 2000s stuff was such an interesting time for hip hop too. Cause you had like Tupac and Biggie and all them, and then like early 2000s you got like 50 Cent came out, and that was a huge thing, and Eminem came out, and like like just crazy amount of people.
Like even the South, man, like Ludacris and all them, T.I. start coming in.
Like, it was just crazy to see, and just to see where things are now. There's just so many more artists now, you know what I mean? I don't know if, like, I know people always talk about now, it's like artists are kind of just a dime a dozen and no one really lasts that long. I feel like there was always this amount of people trying to be artists, but no one had the resources to be on the level of those people back then, because it was harder to be on that level back then because there wasn't any internet. There wasn't any way to kind of do things on your own. Now it's like kids can just have a laptop, have a recording software, and just do their own thing and become big. You know what I mean? So
yeah, hey, it's even apps on these phones. Mm-hmm. All type of apps on these phones these kids use.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of people like recording actual songs on they'll pull the beat into like their phone, record on it, and like put it out. They don't even touch a computer at all. So like, if people are doing that, it's like really anyone can do it. I think it's just, do you have the information and the skills to make it a career at that point? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I think it's like, there's still a big difference between people that can make it a career and people that are just doing it just to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's just accessibility compared to what it was back then is kind of, you know, the thing. But I'm sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but definitely a lot of important influences there for you, for sure. But
yeah, what I think it is now is like a lot of people, you know, is kind of using it not just a career, but more like a side hustle to do what they want to do. Because even like, even if you look at other popular underground artists, you know, for example, like, you know, O.G Proce, he used rapping to start multiple businesses and stuff, you know, to the point where you don't gotta rap. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty much like the, you know, the motto of it now. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's another thing. That's another reason I like to do this show, is to get different perspectives, because not everyone is doing music for the same reasons. Like, there's people that want to do it just to do it and that be their full thing. Then there's other people that want to do it and incorporate it in their other facets of their businesses and their entrepreneurial life.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my goal at the moment.
That's super great, because, like, that's the whole point of the show, is just to show people the different options that they have when it comes to this stuff. There's really not a wrong way or right way to do any of this. It's just you got to figure out what is right for you and figure out the way to do it correctly. So that's super awesome. I didn't have that question in there, but I'm just going to say this question. Can you elaborate on your other business ventures and how you've kind of used music to help fund those ventures a little bit, if you want to, that is?
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, cool. So last summer, 2 summers ago, I was living in Ypsilanti, Michigan. And I came back to Detroit in the later spring of May, 2019. And that's when I really started trying to like get in shape, because I was getting overweight and I was kind of unhealthy. So my best friend had a cousin that was a trainer named Deontay. And basically I started training with him and, you know, slim, cut the body fat off. But I always had an interest in nutrition, you know, and one of my best friends, he was making like smoothies and detox drinks a lot, but he wasn't too good at it, but we kind of experiment with it. But he kind of put me hip to that. And it got to a point on my fitness journey, I was making them smoothies and detox so much. So I started researching on it. Then I started reading to the point where I was making them so much. I was like, you know, I'm also kind of turning into like a business too. Mm-hmm. You know? And that's what gave me the idea to come up with Carter's Organic Goodness. You know, and then I just kind of incorporated the rap into it.
Nice. Yeah, I remember I've seen like in your bio about it. I just didn't know like the details on it or anything, but I'm a smoothie guy right here, so I need to try some of your stuff, man. Like,
oh yeah, I got you, man.
Eventually, I need
to definitely hook you up.
Get some samples or something. Yeah, when you come down here, you got to bring the stash, because I need to try some.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be a requirement.
I won't forget.
What flavors do you got? I'm going off tangent here. What flavors do you got right now? What do you got?
I'm gonna just go down on my most popular flavors. The mixed berry flavor, that's a popular one, and the strawberry watermelon lemonade flavor.
That sounds good. That sounds.
Last but not least.
That sounds like sounds like the one right there for me. But keep going.
Okay, yeah, that is. Hey, look, that one is a tasty ass motherfucker.
It sounds
Last
good.
but not least, I call this one the purple now later. And it literally tastes like a purple now later.
Wow.
You get back in the day as a kid.
That's interesting. But that second one's probably my deal, for real. So you might have to bring me that one.
I got you, man.
For real. But yeah, back to, sorry about our smoothie tangent, everyone, but back to the music for a second. So I'm curious to know how, obviously you talked about working with Jordan and Luigi and all them. How important has networking been for you in your kind of, let's just say, since you've revamped your career a little bit and kind of got back to rapping, how important has networking been to that whole process as far as like just getting your footing again and kind of getting back in the swing of things, I guess?
Yeah, man, I'm kind of glad you asked that because I think out of any rapper in Detroit, my journey been kind of like interesting. Because the thing is about Detroit, when it comes to Detroit music, like I love my city and I love our music too, but we are very tight in a box. You know what I'm saying? If you trying to work with an artist out here, you kind of got to be on their tip because they not about to kind of like adventure, step outside their comfort zone a little bit, unless you know what I'm saying. You're really talking about some money involved. And it was a couple of artists I tried to work with out here. You know, I won't say no names, but they was like, nah, ain't nobody trying to hear that hippie shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, damn, you know, my biggest challenge was like, how can I take that sound I love that I came out of high school with listening to and incorporate it into my own, but at the same time rep where I come from? Because I still want to rep my neighborhood, you know? And like I say, when I met up with Jordan and Kang and Luigi, Tommy Hill and all them, they had that same sound. I liked it, and it just all made sense. So my best bet was to network with them, you know. But the way I network, like I like to try to build like some type of relationship with people. I'm not one of them guys where I just hit you up, hey, let me get a beat. You know, I kind of like it to be organic, man. You know, I want you to, you know, feel I'm a good person, you know. Then we get cool. If you want to work, we can work. If not, you know, we can still be cool. I don't got no problem.
It's interesting to me always that that's always something people overlook, but it's such a simple thing as to like just give value to someone else. You know what I mean? Like just be yourself and just be a normal person and just be genuine. You know what I mean? Like I think everybody's just has like their artist face on all the time or like whatever, and they just think everybody's robots and they just act in the stupidest way. You know what I mean?
Hey, look, I get it. Business comes first, but at the same time, you know, we all still human, and at the same time, you gotta be careful not to like burn bridges with people. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna tell it like this: producers already know you need a beat from them. They know it when you inbox them. So it's just better to like not seem too desperate and to just be, you know, chill, like kind of let it be organic.
I think people try just way too hard sometimes, and they like get in their own head, and they're like, "Well, I gotta tell them something that they want to hear." Blah 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 blah. Do all that, and they just overthink things, and they end up the person they're trying to work with gets like scared off because they're like, this person is being very weird, and they're just not really. You know what I mean?
Like, hey, look, I'm gonna give you an example. This recently happened. I reached out to Tommy Hill. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, damn, he got that sound. If I can just, when I listen, I was like, if I can just rap on that, I'd be good. And because me and him was already kind of cool. He know I'm cool with Jordan and them. You see, so we was already kind of cool. So I was inboxing him one day, so I just kind of like slithered in a little bit. I was like, dog, let me just get one. And I promise you, bro, you give me one, I will try to give you back the best verse I possibly can, bro. And he kind of like chuckled a little bit. He was like, nah. He was like, I want to see you put out some more material. And I ain't gonna lie, I kind of felt some type of way, but I put on my big boy pants. I got over it, and we still cool because I understand where he coming from. I'm like, okay, that just made me step my game up. You know, I'm actually kind of glad he said that to me. You know?
It's like that extra push, honestly. You might have needed it. Who knows?
Yeah, and that's what we be needing as artists. We be needing that extra push.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's how you know that, like, those people are going to be your long-term collaborators as well, because they aren't just, like, yes men who are like, yeah, like, let's do this. If they feel they have a different input, they'll, like, let you know. You know what I mean? They're not just going to be like, oh, yeah, everything you do is great, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what I respect about Tommy Hill. That's my dog. I respect all the producers we work with. All of them, like my dogs, for real. Nothing but love and respect. You know, shout out to Tommy Hill.
Yeah, I saw that I think him and Jordan just put out like a project, didn't they? Like a little EP or something.
It was him and Kane and Wolf, all three. He did a project for all three of them, and they was all supposed to drop at the same time on 420. So they put their projects out, and it was dope.
It's fucking. We're 4 months in, and they already got all that music out. It's fucking crazy. Like every week, I see new music from one of them.
Right, it's incredible, dog.
It's crazy. They got the.
I love it, man.
Yeah,
like I say, it inspired me. It inspired me, man. Because for a minute, I kind of, I'm still new to the game, so I kind of struggled for a minute to try to find a way to get my music out. And now I'm finally, watching them and working with them and having them pressure me. Like I'm finally, starting to get my foot in the door a little bit. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And I love the work ethic from all you guys. Like, let me just say that, because I think I follow pretty much everyone now. I think I don't follow Luigi yet, and a couple other people. I'm gonna have to do that though.
You follow Wolf?
But
you follow Wolf?
Do I follow Wolf? I don't know. I follow Kang and Jordan and you, and I don't know if I follow Tommy or Luigi or Wolf. But I've seen all their like profiles and everything.
Okay.
I'm probably just like fucking around, not doing it. But I'll do it probably like very soon, honestly. Because they keep popping up, so I can't deny them for much longer.
I say the last two people you gotta follow is probably like Wolf and James Benji, and our other producer, 15 grams.
Okay.
15 grams, James Benji, and Wolf.
Yeah, because I know Jordan and Benji had a lot of stuff like before we even started working with him. So
a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
So as far as you're concerned, I know you just said you got stuff coming in June. What else can we expect from you? Either this year or maybe next year. What do you got kind of planned at least?
Right now I'm working on my album / tape. It's called Motor City Dreaming. And basically I'm trying to aim for like a next November release around my birthday. And after that, I'm working on a project with Luigi called The Legend of Carter Knight. And that should expect that to drop around, hopefully this summer. I can get that out by the late summer, like August, September.
Nice. I like those titles. Those are badass.
Yes. Awesome. Look, I'm a weird type of artist, man, because I be coming up with like personas and characters. Like the Legend of Carter Knight, that came from like back in 2015, man. I had a Monte Carlo and I wore like a leather jacket, and all my cousins used to call me David Hasselhoff. So that's what made me come up with that that persona. And they used to call me the Black David Hasselhoff. I was like, fuck it, the Night Rider, damn it.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. That's fucking great. That made it that's gonna make the music 10 times better.
Yeah, man, it's just having fun with it and using your imagination to come up with it,
Yeah, that's what it's all about for sure. I skipped a question, by the way, when we were talking about collaborators. I forgot to ask you, who would be your dream collaborators? Like, I know there's probably a lot of them. But if you could pick like one or two, who would you ever want to be on a track with?
There's so many of them, dog.
I know.
There's so many.
I know. There's probably like fucking 50 of them. You don't have to name more than like two.
Do it gotta be producer or artist?
It could be either one. It don't matter.
All right, I'm gonna just do both. As far as like rappers go, I say Larry Jones. Right now, I love to collab with Larry Jones because we both kind of got. He be on that healthy stuff too. We both kind of got like that. That laid back, cool, healthy vibe, organic. So that'd be dope. And as far as like producers go, man, I gotta go with the Alchemist, man. I'm a big fan of the Alchemist.
I'm so glad Alchemist is finally getting like some recognition. Like him and Freddie had the Grammy nomination and everything, and like he's just been doing the shit with Boldy James and all these other albums. Like fucking crazy, man. Alchemist was so slept on for so long, and I think like. I don't know. He's finally getting his dues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man. He deserves it, man. Because he like a legend in like the underground hip hop scene.
No one besides like Madlib. I'd say him and Madlib have like two of the most unique style production out of anybody out there for sure.
They two sides of the same coin, man. For real. Absolutely. That's why I wish they could have had a versus battle. But I understand why they didn't do the versus battle.
Were they trying to make that happen? Like, was someone trying to put that together?
They actually tried to make that a thing, but Alchemist got an interview. It's on YouTube. Alchemist said he wouldn't do it. He was like, man, that man will destroy me. No, I can't do it. Which I don't think he'd destroy him. But, Uncle Al, humble.
Here's my thing, though. I think both of those guys aren't really those type of people. I think they're very laid back, like behind the scenes. They don't really like that type of thing to begin with. So I don't think either one of them would have done it anyway. Especially Madlib. Like, you don't ever see Madlib posting on social media or doing anything in the limelight at all. He's just tucked behind the scenes, doing his thing, and that's it. Like,
yeah, Madlib like a ghost, man.
He is, man. Like, he'll post like every once in a while. Like, I think he dropped like a beat tape at the end of the year last year or something, and he kind of promoted that for a minute, and then like that's about it. And you'll hear like things here and there. I guess him and Pusha T are trying to do an album, which would be incredible. So I hope that happens. But like both those guys, I don't know if I'd ever like think that either one of them would do verses, but I guess never say never. We'll see if it ever happens. Something along the lines ever happens. But
I like to see him produce an album for like one of the Griselda members. That'd be hard as hell.
Yeah, that would be crazy because we already saw Benny work with like Hit Boy and do that Burden of Proof album and everything. And I know Alchemist has done a ton of the like Conway and everything and all these people. So that'd be interesting. So where can fans find you on social media? Like I know you're on Instagram. Are you on anything else where people could find your music maybe?
I'm on Instagram. You can go to my YouTube page. It's in my description. Genre Music. It's on my Instagram and the link up at the top. And expect this Spotify soon. Like I say, I'm just waiting for my artwork to come back for 04 Pistons. And when I drop that, expect that to be on all platforms. Definitely Spotify.
Awesome. I'll be looking out for that for sure. I'll probably add that to the playlist then when this episode comes out. Because I got like a playlist going for the Creators series. So that'll have to be the one then.
Yeah.
So if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself advice, maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
You said if I can give myself some advice?
Give yourself advice or maybe not change anything at all. What would you do?
I'd definitely change some stuff. if I was to go back and give myself some advice, I'd say, hey, don't answer that inbox from her. Stay on your purpose. I had to do it.
I cannot relate to that, so I'm not going to touch that, but we'll just leave that at what it is.
Hey, that's the best advice. Stay on your purpose, nigga.
So if we flip it then and we say 10 years from now, where do you see yourself or where do you envision like your career and your life, you think?
I say, man, still recording, man. Hopefully have like 2 or 3 businesses, you know what I'm saying, and just run that, keep going. Definitely try to give back, to my family and probably to my community. That's one of my visions, like dream is to open something up for like my neighborhood, man, to keep people off the street and shit like that.
You got to couple all that with being the number one plug in the smoothie game.
Right. Right.
That comes before anything. We can't forget that. Number one plug in the smoothie game. So any final words of wisdom today before we wrap it up?
I say, as far as my words of wisdom, man, just, try to be the best version of yourself, man, day by day, and stay on your purpose and stay focused and stay away from toxicness. Your best bet is to have a clear mental. That's the only way you're going to do what you got to do.
Definitely well said, man. Well, that's all I have for you today, bro. I appreciate you. Like I said, I appreciate all the support on, our music, the platform, the show, everything else. And I'm looking forward to all the new music you got coming out because, like you said, you're just getting started again, and you got a lot planned, man.
Definitely working.
Yes. And then, like I said, when you're down here, hit me up. We'll get together. We'll work. And maybe we can do another episode very soon of this podcast, man.
Oh, yeah, bet, man. I'm down for another episode, man, for sure.
Thanks, everyone, for listening today. That was episode number 51. If you want to support, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform. If you want to send any funds our way, we'll be back this time next week. Thank you very much.